Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Hello and welcome to Tune with me, Richard Dockra. Thanks for listening in. Now the aim of this show is to play you some tunes that I love and share some of my passion for music with you. As ever, I invite you to leave any judgments about music and taste at the door and just enjoy what I'm playing. We'll also have 3 tunes at the end on a particular theme, which I'll tell you more about later in the show. But let's get started.
I know that I've imagined love before.
Unfinished Sympathy by Massive Attack, and that's the Paul Oakenfold remix. And the reason I'm drawing your attention to the remix of that is that later on in the show, the 3 songs of the theme are going to be remixes of songs, more particularly extended remixes of songs. Coming up now is a song which would never have had an extended remix of it. This is Nick Drake.
I could have been a sailor, could have been a cook, a real life lover, could have been a book. I could have been a signpost, could have been a cloak, as simple as a kettle, steady as a rock. I could be here and now. I would be, I should be, but how? I could have been, but one of these things first. I could have been. Could have been your pillar, could have been your door. I could have stayed beside you, could have stayed for more. I could have been your statue, could have been your friend. A whole long lifetime could have been the end. I could be oh so true. I would be, I should be, through and through. I could have been, one of these things first. I could have been. Could have been a flute, a real life giver, could have been a boot. I could have been a signpost, could have been a clock, as simple as a kettle, steady as a rock. Could be even here. I would be, I should be, so near. I could have been, but one of these things first. I could have been.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? That's Nick Drake, and One of These Things First. I have to say, I think I was pretty late to the party in getting to like Nick Drake. I only got into him about 4 or 5 years ago. But it's just this most beautiful, slightly melancholic, low-tempo stuff. It's just really beautiful. Coming next is a band that I've liked for, 20, 25 years. And they were one of the kind of formative bands that I got into in my teenage years. And it was through the LP Infected that I guess I first got into them. And then I sort of rediscovered that there was a load of nice back catalogue that they had. This is from their LP Dusk, and this is called Slow Emotion Replay. And it's The. That was The with Slow Emotion Replay. That was fantastic. And you may have recognised a bit of the guitar playing there, and that was Johnny Marr from the Smiths. Fantastic. The next one I'm going to play you is kind of quite an old-fashioned one, I suppose. It's Elton John, and it's going to be backed up with Womack and Womack.
less I say, the more my work gets done. 'Cause I live and breathe this Philadelphia freedom. From the day that I was born, I waved the flag. Philadelphia freedom took me knee-high to a man. Yeah, give me a piece of mind my daddy never had. Well, Philadelphia freedom, shine on me. I love it, shine a light through the eyes of the one left behind. Shine a light, shine a light, shine a light, won't you shine a light? Philadelphia freedom, I love, yes I do. If you choose to, you can live your life alone. Some people choose the city, some of them choose the good old family home. I like living easy without family tight. Till the whip-poor-will of freedom's at me, right between the eyes. 'Cause I live and breathe this Philadelphia freedom. From the day that I was born, I waved the flag. Philadelphia freedom took me knee-high to a man. Give me a piece of mind my daddy never had. Oh, Philadelphia freedom, shine on me. I love it, shine a light through the eyes of the one left behind. Shine a light, shine a light, shine a light, won't you shine a light? Philadelphia freedom, I love it. Yes, I do. Oh, Philadelphia freedom, shine on me. I love ya, shine a light through the eyes of the one left behind. Shine a light, shine a light, shine a light, won't you shine a light? Philadelphia freedom, I love. You know I love. You know I love you. Yes, I do. Philadelphia freedom, I love you. Yes, I do. Philadelphia freedom, know that I love you. Yes, I do. Philadelphia freedom, don't you know that I love you? Yes, I do.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
That's Teardrops by Womack and Womack, and it's a song that I guess I've grown to love over the years, even though it contains possibly the simplest and strangest piano solo in the world, which sounds like it's been played by a sort of 7-year-old child just with 2 fingers going left and right on the piano keyboard. It's a strange one. But anyway, it's a great song. That's Teardrops by Womack and Womack. So a couple more songs to go before we get to our theme for the show, which is extended remixes. And this is kind of going back to what I see as a kind of golden age from the late 70s of where artists extended each song to become 7 or 8 minutes long as a sort of extended remix or a dance remix. And there was a particular period in the sort of 70s and 80s where some of the most artistic versions of these sorts of records came out. And I'll be playing a couple of those for you. But now, let's have a bit of Roxy music. Oh, you've got to love a bit of Roxy music. That was the Same Old Scene. Now, the next tune is something that I discovered while I was working in an office. And isn't it fantastic when you're just in the middle of doing something, maybe you're hanging out with other people or you're in a restaurant or a cafe, and something comes on that you just think, wow, this is amazing, and I would have never discovered this unless I'd just been here at this moment. So this is an example of that. And this is a band called For Hero, and they'd released this beautiful new LP called Play With The Changes. This is about 5 or 6 years ago. And this song is the first track from that LP. It's called Morning Child. Wow, wasn't that beautiful? That was For Hero, and Morning Child. And yeah, I think this is a beautiful song. Now we're on to our three songs which are the theme of the day, which is extended remixes. And as I said before, this is kind of the idea where you take a song and you extend it as a dance version or just to kind of repurpose it somehow. And the three songs that I've chosen are attempts, I suppose, to kind of enhance the song somehow, make it a bit better than it was before. And they're all quite different versions of that. The first one is from a band that I have loved throughout my whole life, ever since they started. It is the Pet Shop Boys. And I could have chosen a huge number of their different songs because they've done so many different remixes and 12 inches. They were right at the sort of the middle of that whole idea in the mid-80s of extending versions and doing lots of multiple formats of a song. I could have also chosen a number of different tracks by the remixer of this song, who is Shep Pettibone. And Shep Pettibone was a kind of around in the disco scene in New York in the 80s. And he remixed for loads of massive artists, from Madonna to the Pet Shop Boys to Duran Duran, loads of different people. And his remixes always added something to the song. They kind of took it up a notch. And I think this is a really good example. I could have chosen a couple of other Pet Shop Boys songs, but this one, it felt that he really enhanced it particularly. This is Love Comes Quickly, the Shep Pettibone disco mix.
later, sooner or later, this happens to everyone, to everyone. But where does it get you?
Wow, isn't that fantastic? So that's a brilliant example of how a remix can kind of transform what was there, a mid-paced love song, into something completely spectacular with extra percussion, extra emotion. Oh, it's just a fantastic remix. Okay, so the second one I'm going to play you is from another band of a similar era, I suppose, Depeche Mode, again, who I could include a lot of different remixes of. And this is one of my favourite songs by them, and it's one of many remixes of the song Strangelove. This is the Blind Mix, which was originally released as a sort of limited edition 12-inch. And again, we'll talk a bit afterwards about how it's enhanced the song.
return it, I'll say it again. Pain, pain, will you return it, I'll say it again. Pain, pain, will you return it, I'll say it again. Pain, pain, will you return it, I won't say it again.
That is Depeche Mode and the blind mix of Strangelove. And I think they enhanced that song by just extending it because it's a great song, but adding a whole different mix to the thing. So, louder drums, different percussion, the whole thing is just enhanced to me. Anyway, I think it's a great remix. So, the final one that I'm going to leave you with today, I suppose, is almost when you get to the end of the line on all this stuff, is how much can you throw at a remix to actually make it extraordinary and over the top and grandiose? And I suppose the masters of this were the team at ZTT Records, sort of headed by Trevor Horn. And they produced a load of really interesting stuff in the 80s. So Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Propaganda, those sorts of acts. And they were a great production team. But they also decided, well, what if we took some of this stuff and tried to make kind of artistic statements with it? And yeah, they produced some quite amazing things. This final thing that I'm going to play out with is one of the remixes of Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, one of the songs by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And yeah, they've made it completely over the top, but it's brilliant fun, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'll leave you with this. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next week.
Under the charm of the Dionysian, not only is the union between man and man reaffirmed, but nature, which has become alienated, hostile or subjugated, celebrates once more her reconciliation with her lost son, man. Freely, earth proffers her gifts, and peacefully the beasts of prey of the rocks and desert approach. The chariot of Dionysus is covered with flowers and garlands. Panthers and tigers walk under its yoke. Transform Beethoven's Hymn to Joy into a painting. Let your imagination conceive the multitudes bowing to the dust, awestruck. Then you will approach the Dionysian. Now the slave is a free man. Now all the rigid, hostile barriers that necessity, caprice, or impudent convention have fixed between man and man are broken. Now, with the gospel of universal harmony, each one feels himself not only united, reconciled, and fused with his neighbor, but as one with him. As if the veil of Maya had been torn aside, and were now merely fluttering in tatters before the mysterious, primordial unity. In song and in dance, man expresses himself as a member of a higher community. He has forgotten how to walk and speak, and is on the way toward flying into the air, dancing. His very gestures express enchantment. Just as the animals now talk, and the earth yields milk and honey, supernatural sounds emanate from him too. He feels himself a god. He himself now walks about, enchanted, in ecstasy, like the gods he saw walking in his dreams. He is no longer an artist. He has become a work of art. In the paroxysms of intoxication, the artistic power of all nature reveals itself to the highest gratification of the primordial unity. The noblest clay, the most costly marble, man, is here kneaded and cut. And to the sound of the chiseled strokes of the Dionysian world artist rings out the cry of the Eleusinian mysteries. Do you prostrate yourselves, millions? Do you sense your maker, world? Welcome to the Pleasure Drome.
Moving at 1 million miles an hour, using my power, I sell it by the hour. I have it, so I market it. You really can't afford it, yeah. Really can't afford it. Shooting stars never stop, even when they reach the top. Shooting stars never stop, even when they reach the top. There goes a supernova, what a pushover, yeah. There goes a supernova, what a pushover. We're a long way from home. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, on our way home. Going home where lovers roam, long way from home. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Shooting star never stop, even when they reach the top. There goes the supernova, what a pushover, yeah. There goes the supernova. Welcome to the pleasure dome, on our way home. Going home where love is wrong. Unbreakable. Welcome to the pleasure
Shooting stars never stop, even when they reach the top. Shooting stars never stop, even when they reach the top. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shooting stars never stop, even when they reach the top. Shooting stars never stop, even when they reach the top. There goes a supernova, wanna push over. There goes a supernova, wanna push over. Yeah.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.